Good morning, Boker Tov, Boker Or. We're ready to count the 10th day of the Omer, along with moving through chapter 2 of Shir HaShirim, the Song of All Songs. Ready? So let's count the Omer. Day 10. 10 is, of course, another one of those significant numbers, the 10 Sfirot. And we are in Gevura. Yesterday was Gevura in Gevura. And today we are in Tiferet. Gevura and Tiferet in Gevura.
Let's discuss
really
the
beautiful.
energies for a second.
Okay.
So the first week is given over to Chesed, giving. Yes.
Unconditional.
The second week, complementary to the first week, is Gevura. This week, the sense of restraint. It goes with Chesed. But there's always we think in triads, not dyads right now. So there'll be a third week. We're living in two sets of three and then one corresponding to the 7 lower sfirot. Each one of the weeks corresponds to one of the sfirot. So this week the sfirah is restraint, Gevura, and we talk about the operation, the working of each energy within the context of that week. So 7 energies, one for each day. The week signified by certain energy. So this week is Gevura, the energy, restraint. And today is the Tiferet, the third balance pole, which is beauty between Chesed and Gevura. All paths pass through beauty. John Keats, I'm answering your question. Counting 2 weeks, Tiferet within Gevura, Tiferet Shiba Gevura. I think in threes, when once I thought in twos.
I like that.
2 implies antagonism. I think this or this. 3 implies nuance and patience for nuance. This and this synthesized with that. With patience, enough for that to be beautiful. Voila, Tiferet. Amen.
Interesting. So, that's that. Even in the Song of Songs, you think there are just 2 voices, but there's more. There's 3. There's this amazing Shulamite woman. There's her lover. And then there are these Banot Yerushalayim.
The others.
There's the others. The others. That's the third. Right. The third. There's always.
I'm coming to see them like a chorus.
Yeah, nice. I like that. But they have a place, and they're not just affirming what they're hearing. They're in. There's edginess. There's antagonizing. There, she feels a little threatened by them.
They're adding some tension to the story for sure.
Tension. So that's the third, you think? I mean, even here.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. I started to think of them like a chorus or a third pole, I suppose. Third element, third voice for sure. Even if the voice is not expressed, it's referred to. It's present.
Nice.
So here's
count.
the
count.
key.
You have to say the blessing and count.
Chesed, loving kindness. Gevura, restraint.
Yeah.
Tiferet, beauty. It's the first triad. Second triad, Netzach. You think you know. Hod. You don't. Yesod, foundation in the body. And then the 7th, Malchut, the spigot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer hayom 10 yamim shehem shavu echad u'shlosha yamim la'omer. Today is day 10 of the Omer, which is 1 week and 3 days of the Omer. I'd like to read this piece now.
Okay.
Dr. M teaches the Omer. epigraph, almost all your certainty is misplaced, in quotation, in italics.
Yeah.
Fountain, its origins toward loving kindness, love, chesed, loving kindness overflowing, bordered by gevura, restraint, lifted and balanced into tiferet, beauty. With netzach, a renewal of confidence. Second pass, you think you know, you don't know. Moderated by hod. Settling into synthesis, yesod in your body. With malchut, this spigot is yours. Open, not open. You have a strange look on your face.
I do?
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that spigot.
Oh.
Did that come from a Holly, the idea of the spigot?
No,
That's you.
I take ownership of it, for better or for worse.
Okay.
It's one of my obsessive words.
Yeah.
Boker Tov, Debbie. Hello, Larry. Hello, Samantha. Hello, Alyssa. Hello, Diane. Hello, 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 hello,
Come,
hello.
let's count the Omer.
We counted the
I'm sorry.
Baruch
Let's give a
atah
blessing.
melech haolam she'akol niyeh bivaro. Amen. Everything is created according to your word. Today we're drinking a very fine black tea from the Caucasus with strong enough to tolerate a splash of milk. Okay, Susie.
Now, blessing for learning.
The Arevna, pardon me. I have an animal in my throat. V'arevna Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratcha b'finu ובפי עמך בית ישראל, ונחיה אנחנו וצאצאינו, וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל. כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדי תורתך לשמה. ברוך אתה אדוני המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. Oh God, make the words of your teachings pleasant on our lips, in the lips of all of those that come onto our screens, so we can spend a time in learning for the pleasure, for its own sake, for the beauty of it, the purity of it. Blessed are you who teaches to your people in this fashion. Amen.
Amen. So you had a question yesterday about verse 7. Where does verse 7 belong? You didn't think it belonged yesterday with this, wonderful love.
Sex scene.
Yeah, it really was, right? In the wine house there. But I don't know, when you think about that third voice, there's always something else there. And that's that third voice. They're never really alone. It's nobody lives in isolation, really. Even though we feel like we've been isolated, nobody lives in isolation. There's always other voices. There's always other temptations. There's always other, I don't know, players, right? And so I think you can make a case that 7 belongs with yesterday and not just a standalone thing, because it clearly doesn't belong with the next poem, this 8 through 13.
I might put them in the middle then.
What?
I might stick it in the middle.
In the
in
middle.
Italics in my book.
Yeah, I mean, just keep it alone as kind of your, because you like it as a chorus. I don't know, maybe.
Glasses.
I don't know. I think she's teaching them something. I think they're always present because he's royalty. It's one thing and he's always in the public eye, you see. So now we have.
Or that's what she calls him.
Yeah, could be. So verse 8, the voice. Yeah, I mean, this is really famous images here.
מדלג על ההרים, מקפץ על הגבעות. Call Dodi, the voice, my beloved.
So, Sansino, in the more literal translations and the more traditional translations, has them now moved out of Jerusalem to the hills maybe of the north, somewhere closed where he has to go and find her, outside of Jerusalem. But, um, the leaping mountains, the skipping hills,
I
right?
don't know. It's still peering through the windows,
Mm-hmm.
this kind of thing. So I don't know. I just think
Yeah, right. I don't think it has to be literal like that.
Yeah,
They want it to be an
may not be
allegory.
geography,
I agree with you, and so does Marshall Falk, and so do the poets, who are not afraid to take us out of the realm of allegory to the realm of, real people.
And the voice
real
of my
lovers.
beloved is coming, and it's such a voice. It's so
He's
penetrating.
He's coming. So we're with the woman's voice again.
It leaps over the mountains, skips over the hills.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and nothing can keep them apart. Right? The voice of my love, listen, bounding over the mountains toward
And what's
me,
it
across
like
the
in
hills.
verse 9?
Does it remind you kind of that Isaiah, Ki Harim Yamushu, remember the hills skipping and
Yeah.
there's something about those hills that does that, right? You don't really see it anymore because everything is so built up. But when you get into the archaeology of it, that those, the 7 hills of Jerusalem, like Rome, they really were distinct hills, all the different Mount Moriah, Mount Zion,
when you're
Mount
in
of
the
Olives,
like a basin there.
yeah, it's hills. It's all those hills
surrounding.
Yeah,
And it's pretty
it's dramatic.
symmetrical.
Yeah, they're beautiful hills. I mean, why Jerusalem? Why did that become such a holy spot? It's not near water. You have to get from the spring of Siloam, right? It's not particularly a safe place to be, and yet something drew people to that holy place, right? It's crossroads maybe, but not a particularly fortifiable place. Not a place by water that you would.
But it is high.
It is high.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is high, and it is definitely, it's one of those places in the world. The omphalos, right? You speak
The
about
omphalos,
right?
the belly button.
There's something holy, like if you've been to Delphi, there's a sense there that holiness comes from the belly of the earth. That happens in Jerusalem too, right? So let's put ourselves
Detroit
back.
Also. Kol Dodi, Hine Zeba. So the voice, here's the voice comes looking for me.
And then verse 9.
What's he like? What is my beloved like? It's some
like
kind
a
of
gazelle,
deer. A gazelle or a deer.
A wild stag.
Hine Ze Omer. Here he is standing.
The other side of the wall, right?
Kotlinu. Mashgiach. He's checking the kashrut. Oh no. He's looking. Minha chalonot.
Between the windows, through the window.
Now this is an interesting word here. Meitzitz.
Right. Meitzitz is that the lattice, or is those the stones?
Harakim. Through some kind of lattice or something.
Or stones. I mean, those big stones of Jerusalem.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Meitzitz.
The thing about the stones in Jerusalem, they were cut so perfectly they didn't need cement, right? They did. Our new wall actually is that way too. It's just the stones are cut so that they don't need mortar, so you could see through. Yeah. The Midrash, it says here, mystically applies the words to the Shekhinah peering through the outstretched hand of the priest when blessing the people.
Meitzitz is a confusing verb though here. We have lots of takes on it.
Yeah.
So it
It's
could have a sense of a
sparkling,
sparkle.
right?
Nitsuts is
Maybe she
spark,
sees the gleam in his eyes.
some sort of sparks in his eyes.
The light in his eyes.
Mhm.
Nice. The gazing between the stones is what they do.
I love this image.
Mhm.
Look, taking this.
She,
There's
see.
fire passing between them. She doesn't deal with the verb.
No, she doesn't.
10. Anna, Dodi. And then Anna answers.
He calls to me.
He answered
He
Ba'amarli,
answers.
and I said to him, Kumi lach.
Oh, this
Rise up.
is
Get up.
beautiful here.
Rise up. Lift
Just
up.
beautiful, right?
Rayati. There's that intimate word again. Rayati, my intimate. Yafati, my beauty. Lechilach.
Rise up, my love, my fair one.
Come away.
Come
There's something
away.
extra here.
Really
Extra
beautiful.
beat.
Oops.
Hold on. Hold on.
Okay, keep going.
We're going to deal with this kind of visitor here. We're having work done at a house, on an undisclosed location here in the heartland, the Omphalos. Hi. Of America. You need that back here? Okay. Thanks. Well, that's interesting. There you go. You got to be climbing on a wall. Okay, let's finish
Sorry
up.
about
Susan.
that.
Lech and come away with me. Now this is interesting. The stav. What's the stav here?
That's great.
In the next verse,
The winter.
Kihine, behold,
Stav.
he, the stav.
The
We
staff.
use stav as autumn these days.
Yeah, right.
But it's only here, by the way. It's a dislegomenon, I believe. According to the Targum in Genesis 8:22, it's used for winter in Aramaic.
So different from our.
Sithna.
We get the rains in the spring, but they, in Israel, the when the winter is done, the rains are done, and if you don't have enough water,
Yeah.
Your cisterns will go dry before they're supposed to.
What would be interesting would be
it's a
how
really
stav
important.
became autumn. That would be.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when that happened.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I'll find out. I guess Khalaf and the rain is over. Right.
Stuff occurs only here.
Gone. Halachlo. Let's finish up in 12. No.
Well, they say it goes to 13. Actually,
13, okay.
Most people take this from 8 to 13
Okay.
as the next poem.
So 12. Nitzanim. Flowers, some sort of flowers, blossoms or something. This is also Hapax legomenon, which means it only appears here in the whole Tanakh.
A lot of words like that in this poem.
A lot.
That only are here, which tells you that this is really a different voice, right?
Hanitzanim niru appears are seen in the land 8 hazamir, the time of singing. Zamir is also can be, according to the Septuagint, also pruning of the vines that we're going to get to in a second, because the next phrase talks about vines. And
he says here, others maintain that Zamir is the name of a migratory bird that utters song on its return.
Yeah.
In spring.
That's nice.
That's nice too.
8 Zamir, time of singing of some sort. Yeah, but this is like.
And also, here are all the songs. Here's the Shir HaShirim.
It's not Shir, though.
And it's also Az Yashir, Moshe. This is not the song at the sea or these kinds of songs. This is a different kind of Shir.
This may be like a ritual songs.
Yeah, which makes more sense for this Shir. It could have been.
8 Zamir Higia.
Zamir.
It's come Kol Hator, the voice of the turtle dove. Nishma is heard in our land. In our land seems to be Pleonastic seems to be extra to me.
In our land, yeah.
The art scene.
But this notion of the turtle dove too. He says that the turtle dove is not a singing bird, but a bird of passage, a bird of journey, right?
That's interesting.
And its voice announces the coming of the spring. So there is this, I mean, that's why it's chosen clearly for Passover, because here we are in this spring holiday. The winter is over, the rains are done, the wildflowers are coming up in the field. So now is the time of the turtle dove, right?
Yeah.
They give it as a nightingale, because the nightingale also tells you about a shift, change.
Mm-hmm.
In every meadow you will hear the song of the turtle dove.
Beautiful.
With this notion of the shift, the change. Do you feel at this time of year a change? I know we do, right? When those first crocus come up and the tulips and our azaleas are exploding outside.
The
I think it's inviting us to feel the shift.
The fig ripening. Fageha.
Beautiful.
It's an unripe, a word for like an unripe. It's not, it's green. The figs are ripening, but they're still green. Hagefanim, gefen, vines. Smadar, another.
So this notion of smadar.
Found only, it says dislegomenon, found twice, smadar.
Smadar, you know, it's a popular girl's name in Israel, smadar. But, you know, it's only used here. And it's one of the phases of the grape. It's suggested like, so first you have the blossom, and then you have.
This is the blossoms.
This could be the blossom before the middle.
And it gives the
phase, and then the grape. It's not the grape.
Gives the smell, the aroma. Kumi, lachi, get up.
I never really thought about grapes as having flowers first, but yes, they do. A fig has sweetened its new green fruit, and the young budded vines smell spicy. Hurry, and then, my love.
This intimate phrase again, this intimate epithet, my dear one, Kumi, my beauty.
Kumi.
And lachi lach. Again, this also is pleonastic again, I think.
Yeah.
Come away. Nice.
Yeah, really beautiful.
So you know, there's these.
Again, we have the voices. We begin with the voice of the woman, and then we end with the voice of the man. Hurry, my love, come away with me, right?
Smadar, Bosia, Bosis, Smardim, Bosarim, and Anavim.
Right.
The
stage
movement,
of Smadar
stages
is
of growth.
Rashi says.
Blossoms on vines. Amen.
Amen. Well, let me give you our dear. It's very different, this one, really. Our dear Marcia Fox says, the sound of my lover coming from the hills quickly like a deer upon the mountains. Now at my windows, walking by the walls, here at the lattices, he calls. And then he says, come with me, my love, come away, for the long wet months are past. The rains have fed the earth and left it bright with blossoms. Birds wing in the low sky, dove and songbird singing in the open air above, earth nourishing tree and vine, green fig and tender grape, green and tender fragrance. Come away with me, my love. Come away, he says. So that takes us a little further into chapter 2 on this 10th day of counting of the Omer. Mishaberach, a healing prayer for the soul of humanity, I think. May they begin to love this way again. May we begin to love this way again. I think we need more than anything.
For the healing of the spirit, healing of the body. For those we know, for those we don't know. My right angel Michael and my left angel Gabriel. In front of me, the angel Uriel, behind me, the angel Raphael, above my head, Shekhinah Tel Baruch Atah Rofei HaCholim. Amen. Blessed are you, great healer.
Heal the sick of heart, the sick of mind, the sick of body. Heal the hate. And let Shir HaShirim bring a little bit of love back. Thanks for joining us. Happy 10th day, happy Tuesday, 10th day of the Omer. And hope it's a great day. And we will see you again tomorrow. Thank you.
Amen, 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 amen.